Hello everyone, and welcome to every episode of SpongeBob Season 1 Reviewed. Anyways, let's get right to it. We have the good, okay, meh, and bad episode ratings. And so let's waste no time and get right to it. Starting with Episode 1A, Help Wanted. SpongeBob gets a job at the Krusty Krab. What do I have to say about this episode? It's amazing, simple. Good plot, good characters, good jokes that actually made me laugh, and it's just an all-out fun episode, which I can't really say which I can't really say for other seasons, but I can definitely say for this season. This is why it's my third favorite season and one of my and a good episode. Go. Episode 1B, Reef Blower. SpongeBob attempts to move a shell off his lawn. I don't really like this episode as much as other people. That's why it's at 32 and it's an okay episode. So, I just, in my opinion, I think it needed to be a bit longer and a bit more jokes, and then it would be a perfect episode. So that's why it's pretty low on the list. Please understand me, and please don't go hate in the comments, because I know you're gonna. Episode 1C, Tea at the Treedome. SpongeBob meets Sandy Cheeks. Yeah, it's a pretty good episode. Really solid. Good joke. Good story. Story to introduce my favorite character in SpongeBob. And overall, just a really good episode. But I don't think it's top 10 worthy, which is why it's at number 11. Alright, start off with episode 2A, Bubblestand. SpongeBob starts a Bubblestand. Now this is an amazing episode. The elephant, it's a giraffe. That's what Patrick says. One of my favorite gags in the entire series. It's just golden with gags. The bubble technique where you have to bring it around town. It's just everything else is just good episode character. Episode 1, no, why do I get that? Episode 2B, Ripped Pants. SpongeBob rips his pants, causing everyone to laugh. Now, why is this at number 5 and not the top 3? Well, simple. Even though it's so really good, it's still, that doesn't mean I hate it. Like, I still love the song. I love the story, and I also really like the jokes. But I don't love the jokes. Here's the 4 episodes. The 4 episodes after that made me laugh more. So that's why this is at number 5 and not like number 4, 3, or 2, or 1. Episode 3A, Jellyfishing. SpongeBob and Patrick, spelling error, number 1, take Squidward jellyfishing. Well, this is my least favorite okay episode. And yeah, I don't really like Squidward torture episodes, not even in the first seasons. Some people might disagree with that, they're just not knowing. But I just don't like Squidward torture in general. Guys, that's why it's one of my least favorite episodes. So it's on the list. No, not on the list. Yeah, technically you could put it as my least favorite episode on the list. And it's just an okay episode, nothing too big to rant about or anything. Episode 3B, 3B, yeah, Plankton. Plankton uses his mind control to obtain the Krabby Patty secret formula. Okay, I'm just gonna say this. I love this episode. The amazing jokes, amazing gags. I love SpongeBob. I love Karen. I love Plankton. I just love this plot. This just works for SpongeBob. That's my second favorite episode. One episode is just better than this one, and you're gonna find it out pretty soon. So please stay tuned. Episode 4A, Naughty Nautical Neighbors. Squidward destroys SpongeBob and Patrick's friendship. I don't really like this episode. Not like any other person. This is one of my least favorite episodes in the season. Not in the series, definitely not in the entire series. But in the season, yeah, I can consider it one of the worst episodes in this season. It's the first meh episode on the list. And also my first kind of bad episode, but it still has some pretty good jokes thrown in there, so I can't say it's an absolutely bad, abysmal episode. But yeah, pretty decent plot, and just a pretty kinda character, but kinda not at the same time, because this season the characters were really in character. Episode 4B, Boating School. Patrick attempts to help SpongeBob pass his driving exam. Pretty solid episode. That's really all I have to say. The cheating gag is pretty funny. It introduced the my leg gag too. So yeah, it's just a straight out pretty good, solid episode. Episode 5A, Pizza Delivery. SpongeBob and Squidward deliver a pizza. What do I have to say? This episode is the best episode of the season and might even be one of my favorite episodes in the entire series. I love this episode. And let me tell you why. Every single gag they throw out there is funny. The pizza gag, the delicious pizza gag, the SpongeBob gags, the Squidward gags, the rock gags, people use to red these big smiles, hitchhike. I can go on for hours and hours, maybe not hours and hours, talking about how amazing this episode is. But we don't have much time, and we have like 30 episodes to go through. So let's waste no time and move on to the next episode, which is episode 5B, Home Sweet Pineapple. SpongeBob's house is destroyed by nematodes. This is a pretty solid, really good episode, actually. I love the story. I like a lot of the gags. And it's just straight out everyone is in character. It also introduced SpongeBob's parents at the very end. And they're pretty okay characters. That's in my book. So yeah, it's just a pretty good episode. Really good episode, sorry. Episode 6A, Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy, the original. SpongeBob and Patrick, spelling error number 2, learn that their heroes are retired. You can't see the S because I'm bad at PowerPoint. But anyway, this is also a really solid episode. Pretty good too. It's like a pretty good episode. Pretty good plot, pretty good characters, pretty good jokes. Introduced one of my favorite characters, Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy. Or characters, I should say. So yeah, just a plain good episode. Episode 60, Pickles. SpongeBob loses his confidence after forgetting to put pickles on a Krabby Patty. I also love this episode. I think the lesson is to don't give up and don't stand up to people. I don't know what the plot is of this episode. Don't ask me. I'm just a noob who's 12 years old, so that's why I'm a noob. Anyways, neither or not, I think I'll just like this episode until I die, because it is a very good episode. Episode 7A, Hall Monitor. SpongeBob becomes Hall Monitor at Mrs. Puff's boating school, resulting in chaos. Now this is the second of the Mrs. Puff Bowling School series of videos. Mrs. Puff Bowling School related episodes. Gotta say, I think this might be one of my favorite Mrs. Puff Boating School episodes ever. Pretty solid gags, pretty good jokes. I love the maniac scene. Just golden. And it's the only downside which keeps it from being higher is it introduced the Mrs. Puff Goes to Prison gag, which I don't really like it. So that's why it's number 18. I think it deserves it, honestly. Going to 70, Jellyfish Jam. SpongeBob brings home a jellyfish, creating chaos. Oh boy, do I love this episode. Good gags. I love the 2 songs. SpongeBob and Squidward seem pretty in character. The jellyfish are pretty funny. Causing a whole ruckus in the house. Stinging Squidward with the clarinet. Goodness, I could go on and on and on and on and on. That's all I have to say. It's pretty good, sorry. My throat. pause moment. Episode 8A, Sandy's Rocket. SpongeBob and Patrick sneak onto Sandy's rocket ship. Yeah, it's also a pretty solid episode for season one. The alien feel quite a few gags were good. It's just a good episode overall. Oh, don't have really much to say about it. Episode 8B, Squeaky Boots. SpongeBob buys boots from Mr. Krabs, which causes an annoying squeaky sound. And boy, is that squeaky sound annoying. This is pretty low just because of that sound. I hate that sound. Without the sound, just trying to make it less annoying, and I think if it was just less annoying, it would definitely be pushed up to a good episode. Because besides that, there were some pretty good jokes, and the pretty jokes I like. So yeah, if they removed the squeaking sound, this would definitely be a good episode. Episode 9A, Nature Pants. SpongeBob gets a modern life to live with the jellyfish. Sorry there. This is also a pretty okay episode. Nothing. It's not anything I would scream about watching. I don't really like some of the jokes. Like the jellyfish jokes don't really get into my alley. The only one I really like is the SpongeBob living with the jellyfish thing. I thought that was kind of funny. I don't like the fire gag at the beginning. That was also pretty funny. Yeah. In other ways, it's a good episode. Episode 9B, Opposite Day. Squidward tells SpongeBob Patrick it's the opposite day. I don't like this episode. I really don't like this episode. Not that I have to call it a bad episode, because there were some pretty good jokes. I like the Squidward gag, though it's kinda annoying. But everything else, there were some good jokes sprinkled here and there, but some of the jokes just didn't get me. And plus, that story was pretty good, but it kind of makes Squidward out of character, because in another episode, which is coming up in a later season, he finds out that he actually likes Bikini Bottom. But here he just wants to quickly move out of Bikini Bottom and move out of SpongeBob's way. Though I do have a theory that I think Squidward's just moving to another house in Bikini Bottom. Though don't correct me on that. Episode 10A, Culture Shock. Squidward hosts a talent show at the Krusty Krab. Oh boy, this episode really good. I don't know where I ranked it again. I think I ranked it number 6. Anyways, yeah, around that area. Anyway, I love this episode. This is one of my favorite episodes of the season. I love Squidward dancing. I love Pearl. I love Patrick. I love SpongeBob. I love the audience. I just love everyone here. It's just a pretty good episode. Moving on to episode 10B, F.U.N. SpongeBob befriends Plankton, spelling error number 3, because he thinks he is lonely. Spelling error number 4. Anyways, I love the fun song. It's so much fun. That's why it's really high on the list. And plus, pretty good plot and some pretty good gags. And if it was a bit more funnier, this would have definitely been way higher on the list. So I think 13 is a pretty good spot for it. Episode 11A, Musclebob Buffpants. SpongeBob orders fake arms with inflatable muscles to impress Sandy. Yeah, that's basically it. The only part I kind of liked was the anchor throwing competition. Well, it's not the funniest episode of the season. Sure, there was some pretty good gags, but it's not entirely fun. Plus that, I don't really think the plot is really you can't really make a plot with that pretty funny in my opinion, in my taste. So I just call it an okay episode. Episode 11B, Squidward the Unfriendly Goose. I am bad at ghost noises. And Squidward pretends to be a ghost after SpongeBob and Patrick thinks he is dead. Ooh, my voice is gonna be dead by the time we're done with this. Anyways, it's also a very solid episode. So, not too good, not too bad, but very solid. I do think, though, it could have been a bit funnier and the plot could have been a little bit better, but I still think it's a pretty good episode. Moving on to 12A, Chaperone. SpongeBob takes Pearl to her prom. I don't really like this episode. There was a bit of good jokes, but the jokes there didn't really land. This is one of the least funny episodes in my opinion. The only really good gag was the dude's sponge gag. I gotta admit, that's the only reason why this thing is higher, is where it's at. That was an amazing joke. And I still don't know how to do sponge anyways. So like it matters. Anyways, I really like this episode. And I'm not gonna talk anymore because there's an episode coming up with a very long description and I just want to save my voice for it. Anyways, episode 12B, Employee of the Month. SpongeBob and Squidward compete for the Employee of the Month award. I really like this episode. So it's a very good episode. And the story can be it's a pretty light story. It's just jam-packed with so many jokes, it makes it one of the best. It's definitely serving in the top 15. Moving on to the Halloween special episode, the first Halloween special, because there's 2 of them in this episode. Episode 13A, Scaredy Pants. SpongeBob becomes a goat for Halloween, aka the Flying Dutchman. Yeah, this is his first appearance. And this is a pretty solid episode, closer to the good side than the bad. But still, I love the Flying Dutchman here. Because all the characters here pretty in character in this episode, so than in others. So yeah, that's a pretty decent episode. Now moving on to the other episode of the Halloween special. Episode 13B, I Was a Teenage Gary. Here we go. SpongeBob is carrying the care of Squidward, and when he gets back, he transforms into a snail after accidentally being injected with snail plasma. Yeah, I really don't like this episode. Guys, you know how many painful plots there are. 3 really bad plots, if I had to be honest with you. The first plot, is Squidward forgets to feed Gary, and then the doctor first him as a snail, and he has to get a snail plasma. But SpongeBob gets injected with it, and finds out that, he just needed water, which makes that first plot absolutely pointless. The second plot is also not as good because it's a Squidward torture plot, where SpongeBob just breaks into his house as a snail, and Squidward is afraid as he ever was, I guess. Trying to not say bad words here because I want to stay friendly with YouTube. So, and that plot, I don't really like that plot either because it's a Squidward torture plot, and I don't like Squidward torture plots. And the third plot, it's the shortest plot, it's where they just sing a little song, like a snail song, and Patrick just smacks Squidward here. And then episode's just unfair to Squidward, and Turning might get this come up because Squidward was just like, guys, all he needed was water, guys, I don't really get why this episode. Well, I know they had to make an episode to fit with the Halloween plot, but yeah, it's just bad. Episode 14A, SB129. Squidward accidentally freezes himself for 2,000 years and experiences complications while using a time machine. Anyways, this is golden SpongeBob, and I'm saying golden SpongeBob. I love this episode. Jam-packed with jokes, has primitive SpongeBob. Bob has, has future gags, has so many gags that just work with the series. It's just golden for SpongeBob. Anyways, number 14B, Karate Choppers. SpongeBob and Teddy become obsessed with karate still, which causes some problems. Anyway, this is a very good episode. I love this episode. So, it's probably it used to be one of my favorites because it was the only episode I watched before I did the massive review of season 1, but it's still pretty up there. Number 17 is not a bad spot for season 1. In fact, it's pretty good. Actually, really good, but not as good as other spots. But anyways, that's pretty much all I have to say. It's just a really good episode. Episode 15A, Sleepy Time. SpongeBob visits the dreams of others. Oh boy, am I very tired right now of my voice. Anyways, this is a solid plot, but not as solid as the other ones before it, as the other rings before it. So I'm not really going to go into too much detail because my voice is destroyed, and two, I just don't really have much to say about it. Going on to episode 15B. Phew, Suds. SpongeBob catches the Suds after leaving the fridge open. Yeah, I still think it's a good episode, but not as good as everyone depicts it. That's why it's number 26. Don't get me wrong, it's still a pretty good episode, though, but I just don't like it as other people do. So please understand why I put it here. Don't spam hate. Going on to the second of two specials, or second of these three, episode 16A, Valentine's Day. SpongeBob and Sandy tried to give Patrick a Valentine's Day gift. Out of all of this is my second least favorite special, but not by a long shot. It's only 23 where the Scaredy Pants was number 20. They are pretty similar. Solid plots, really pretty good jokes, and just a pretty good episode in general. Yeah, that's all I really have to say. Anyways, let's move on. Number 31. Not 31. What am I saying? That's the rank. The episode is episode 16B, The Paper. SpongeBob plays with a bubblegum wrapper, and Squidward wants it after seeing how much fun it is. Yeah, this was my least favorite good episode. It was really hard to decide if it was good or okay. Okay? Because I just didn't find myself enthusiastic with the episode that much. But at the same time, there was really good jokes. Jokes not enough to bring it down to a meh, because that problem was only a side problem. So that's why it's only a good episode here. Don't trust my logic. I'm just stupid because I'm 12 years old. Or dumb, whatever. Episode 17A, Arrgh! SpongeBob, Patrick, and Mr. Krabs go on a treasure hunt. Oh boy, I love this episode as well. Oh, this is the second and best appearance of the Flying Dutchman, because because the Dutchman was looking for a treasure as well, and SpongeBob and Patrick get 2 gold doubloons, while Mr. Krabs gets a cheap plastic treasure chest. Yeah. Anyways, this is a pretty good episode. I really love it, and it's just good. Episode 17B, Rock Bottom. SpongeBob gets stuck in rock bottom after taking the wrong bus home. Oh boy, I really love the scenery in this episode. That's the only reason why it's over 16. If not, it would be somewhere in the 20s. But it's still a really good episode because it has a pretty solid plot, pretty solid story. But the scenery, man, it's just so good, so eerie, just amazing. Anyways, moving on. Number 18A, Texas. Sandy feels homesick and decides to return to Texas. Spoiler alert, she doesn't. But meanwhile, there are some amazing gags in this episode. And I mean amazing gags. Like the Texas gag, Texas thumbtack, and also the Happy Texas thing is also pretty funny and heartwarming at the same time. Because it shows that citizens of Bikini Bottom really care for Sandy. Which I think was quite touching. Anyways, and plus it was a pretty nice storytelling, and it's just a flat out great, amazing episode. Moving on to episode 18B, Walking Small. Play that trick SpongeBob into becoming assertive so he can build his mega bucket. I don't really like. I'm quite on the fence on this episode. Just like the paper. Oh guys, I just hit on the table. Sorry, I'm really cheap. If you did not know. So yeah, I'm trying to quite on the fence on myself. Because one thing, I think it's better than the paper, but on the other hand, it has some really bad jokes that were worse than the paper. In my opinion, there was some gags that were worse than the paper. So I just put it at number 29. I'm making it my third least favorite good episode. Complicated, I know. Episode 19A, Fools in April. Squidward plays a nasty prank on SpongeBob. I don't really like this episode, guys. I don't like it that much. Man, I do not like this episode. Yeah, I know a lot of people who love this episode. But I'm not one of them. I really don't like I think Squidward, I don't know if Squidward is such a prank. Because, I don't know, I just don't like this story. The story is just weird in my taste of stories. So that's why it's a low meh. On episode 19B, Neptune's Spatula. SpongeBob is challenged to a cooking competition with King Neptune. Pretty solid episode. That's literally all I can say now, because my voice is destroyed, 1, and 2, that's really it. Besides the throw all my money on Neptune gag, which I really like, it's just solid. Finally, we're at the final stretch, the last stretch, episode 20A, aka the last full episode, Hooky. SpongeBob and Patrick play with hooks. Yeah, this is also a pretty solid episode, and also closer to good than bad as well. It's just good, yeah. And finally, the last episode of Season 1, Episode 23, 20B, Mermaid Man Barnacle Boy 2. Oh boy, my voice is destroyed. SpongeBob wins a conch shell in a contest to summon his heroes. Yeah, this is my favorite Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy episode so far. Pretty solid plot. I love the 3 plots, which I normally don't like. Cough, cough, I was the teenage Gary. Cough, cough, cough. Real cough. Cough. But this time, I think it kind of works with the story, kind of. That's probably my only negative about it, actually, which is why it's only at at the top 15. But overall, it's a pretty good way to wrap up the season 1. Now it's time to cheaply transition, and that was every single episode of SpongeBob Season 1 reviewed. Woo! That was quite the blow, everyone. Okay, let's just cheaply transition to here. No, not here. Crap. No, you go back here. The pie chart. Okay. Pretend you saw nothing there, okay? So there are 31 good episodes, 5 okay episodes, 5 meh episodes, and 1 bad episode, being I Was a Teenage Gary. So yeah, and that was all of season 1. So now I'm going to do some very bland thing of getting the season a final rating. So, what do I think the season is overall? Well, if you saw the slide transition sheet thing, you'll probably know that it is indeed a good season. Cheap slap effect. Anyways, I want to thank Pie Guy Rules for the inspiration for this series, and PowerPoint for making this cheap thing, and Encyclopedia SpongeBobia for all the information. Anyways, thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe, because I'm going to put a bit more SpongeBob content this time. And yes, I will be returning to my series. No, my channel, because, yes. Anyways, bye!